Welcome to the Legends of Crypto Ask Us Anything session, held weekly for your pleasure. Yeah, I don't like the mystery boxes because the people don't know what they're investing in. So it's like, it's a mystery to everybody, even me, because I don't know what the previous ones were supposed to be. It just says rare card and something else card, so I have to make those up. But of course, I'll make them worth the value. I just have to, because otherwise we would be betraying our audience. So
it would make no sense.
It would make no sense. So I mean, obviously, I'm designing whatever we hand out, and even things that other people promised that I had no idea about. So it's just
it's essentially. Sorry, you
go. The reason that I'm not a fan is simply because I think people should understand what they're investing in. That's it.
Yeah, and I think the issue was that essentially after we had the first staking, the NFT reward that was going to be delivered changed because you came on board and the game changed entirely. So what we had said these NFTs would be no longer really made sense. So while we're working out the game, the mystery box is like the catch-all. It's like it'll be something of the equivalent nature, but in the new game scheme. We're mindful that we don't want it to be just like a dud thing.
No, it will not be a dud. 100% not.
100%. So actually, Crypto Bro. So obviously, people ask when Binance, but question about BSC chain. Yeah, we don't control Binance, but the question about LOCG being deployed on BSC. So I'm not on so much the tech side of things, but I believe, there would be ways that we can, deploy our NFTs on BSC. So that's the Binance Smart Chain. It's heavily popular at the moment. A lot of eyes are on BSC chain NFTs. It's obviously that's a really ideal space to be in, and one that we will be looking into just to see what we can actually achieve, technically speaking. But that'll be a question for Janet,
whom is in Toronto, so it's not conducive to. We need to have a later AUA to make sure we can include Janet and stuff.
I actually think, I'm thinking of moving this particular one. What I don't know exactly, but move it later in the day. Hopefully towards when Janet might be available.
Yeah, that would be
good. Question from King. What did I say, King? Can we accelerate product development and launch sooner than roadmap? I knew you'd laugh at this one.
No, I mean, first of all, the product development cycle is already way too short, in my opinion. So that's unlikely. I mean, we're going to see how this first couple months here go. And you shall be keeping your fingers crossed that everything goes extremely smoothly and that there's no hiccups or hitches. Because if there is, we have to delay. And that's just how it is. We're not going to release something that's not working or isn't as we envisioned it. We'll have a minimum viable product, but it needs to be solid and tight. So can we accelerate it? I mean, we could try, but it would just shoot ourselves in the foot, because the faster you try to go on things like game development, the worse things are in the end, because you can only throw so many man hours at something.
Yeah, it's a common thing. I think people are looking for that quick pump and dump, and I think what we could probably accelerate as opposed to bringing the game forward, which is monumental in an expectation, but we can probably accelerate things like the transparency for not bringing forward, but involving community members, starting with ambassadors on the actual process. So as the alpha is coming out, obviously that would be the next big thing. We've got our ambassadors already playing the actual game mechanics on a paper version and tabletop simulator. So we can certainly increase the transparency on that process as we go.
I mean, I'm being as transparent as possible, which is basically anyone who asks me can get a copy of the game as it currently exists. And if you have questions about story or anything, I'm handing out documents like crazy. So it's not there should be no mysteries in terms of anything like that. I just don't want to overemphasize it publicly, simply because some people want that mystery and that reveal of what we're gonna do. But even if you like looked at the story and stuff, the presentation of it will be a whole different matter. So. Game dev trailer this month. Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
I'm working on it. There's a script in the pipeline, and I believe I have a studio that we can make it happen with. So I'll have more info on that soon, but we have to go through some biz dev steps with them first.
Oh yeah, it's the one you were mentioning to me earlier. That sounds really good.
I talked to her today. She's amazing. So I'm super happy and stoked. And I hope that it all goes forward very, very quickly.
And that's the graphic assets that you said Pauline was working on at the moment?
She will... what do you mean?
Or am I getting that mixed up with something else?
Maybe getting that mixed up with something else. But the... I talked to the woman who runs Super Secret Plan A today, and yeah, she's really pretty much exactly what we need. And she has quite the studio of veteran artists. So I think that they can help us not only finish our card set, but maybe also put together the video trailer that I want to do. Their experience with animation, their experience with Unity, like it's just such a perfect fit. So I'm super excited, and I hope it works out. So we'll see. I have to do the next steps, the due diligence, and let everyone else talk to that, or make sure all the biz dev stuff works.
Definitely. King had a follow-up question, reasonable question, saying, as an investor taking the mainnet launch in 2022, which, side note, I think everyone feels like is a long way away, but that's not really that far away. What do you think? Why would investors stick with this project long term? I mean, anything specifically you would want to point out that keeps LOCG standing apart from the crowd?
So many things.
So many things.
So many things. Does anyone else want to start?
Well, how about the Art Foundation? That's I think that was actually one of the questions that someone had asked previously, submitted into the Google form.
Philip? Is he
Philip Free?
Yeah, guys. Sorry.
The Art Foundation? Can you talk about that? And
yeah, of course. I mean, we've got one artist, Aaron Creighton. We're in partnership discussions with various different marketplaces. We expect to go live with the minting either late this week or next week. And then we have a very healthy pipeline of new artists coming on board. So yeah, it's very much a distinction with our projects. And we've set up I think we mentioned it last time, but we set up 100,000 USDT fund to basically fuel this project. So we're looking at new up-and-coming rising stars, and it's a decent little budget that we can obviously allocate to each artist to give them greater exposure. And then we're also talking to who I highly respect in the metaverse fraternity. He's an avid collector. He's got 3 decades worth of art experience, and he might be our official spokesperson for the Art Foundation. What he brings to the table beyond his experience is potential network of collectors, which is great because obviously we want to give these guys exposure, we want to give them momentum, we want to introduce them to new forms of revenue, like in terms of digital tokenization, but we also want to give them access to a potential buying market. So we will be a formidable middleman in the process of getting these guys up and to hopefully the levels of people. Who knows? Maybe. Wouldn't it be great for us to look back in a couple of years and say, geez, we launched this artist and they've also now sold a piece for $150 million?
Yes, that would be awesome. and
Actually,
just to build on that, so each of these collaborations with these artists, I will be making cards for their NFTs, and that will be playable in the game, and then we will sell them as booster packs later on. So these are not just art pieces; these also become a thematic set within the blockchain world. Each one will have its own blockchain world, so they'll become part of the LOCG metaverse. So yeah, you'll be able to have cards from these artists that you can play in the game and cast spells with and things.
Beat me to it, because that was the other part of the question that was submitted.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, reading their mind, essentially. That's good.
That was only part
So that's
one.
the art. Yeah, well, and yeah, that's the Art Foundation is only one aspect of why people might stick around for long term. Obviously, we have the Art Foundation artists in the pipeline. We have celebrity partnerships in the pipeline. There's plenty coming up. We have the KuCoin staking, and of course, between now and the launch in 2022, we're going to have the NFT marketplace up and running. So things are progressing, really progressing well, moving forward. I think it's just people in this space, because there's a lot of pump and dumps. I think people get exposed to these scenarios where they think that, games and projects like this are easy to do in a couple of weeks, or that, wink, wink, their mate can do it in a month.
Yeah, can I talk about that for just a second? This is going to get a little bit edgy. So,
okay, but bite your tongue a little. Bite your tongue.
I'll bite a little bit. But
Okay.
holy crap! I spent the last week looking through some of these freaking projects, and they're promising stuff that absolutely will not be delivered, and they're insinuating they have relationships they absolutely do not have. No one here in the NFT space is working with Disney, and they're representing themselves as basically having these contracts and stuff, and that is so intellectually dishonest and vile. It's vile, and so I get upset when I see a lot of that kind of stuff. And they promise things that I know they aren't going to deliver. They're saying they're going to have a new game in like 2 months and whatever, and it's very clear to me that they're just pumping their token up. Real game development takes time. You cannot rush these things, because you will end up with a busted product, and when you have a busted product, it's going to fall apart. Our goal is not to get something to market and boost our token. The token is to support the game that we're going to release that is going to be good. And I have no intention of like trying to rush this as fast as we can just to make some arbitrary deadline that will end up hurting the game. Like, we as a company have agreed that this game needs to be good, and that is our goal. And so we're not aiming to be the next NFT that gets something to market. We're aiming to be like the game studio that put NFTs on the map as a viable, long-term, sustainable market. Because a lot of the economic models and stuff that I see in some of these are not sustainable. Ours is. We're in it for the long haul. We will support this game for a long, long time, and we're not just gonna put something out there that's garbage just to stoke the token. So I know that there's a lot of people who are just speculating on tokens and they don't understand game development. When I say, I'm talking from 23 years of experience of game development, you don't want a product that's rushed to market. You don't want it. No matter how much you think you want that, you don't. Okay, rant over.
Yeah, but there's also striking a balance between the two, because there's going to be a large portion of the community, not only after the game, but also of the investment value. So there's going to be two basically objectives in the overall arching business, right? So we
I
want to
understand.
bring a deeply immersive game and engaging, and obviously keep that gameplay going. But there is a large investor community that will keep an eye on the token price. So it's not completely forgotten, right?
No, it's not completely forgotten. But what I believe, what I believe is put something in my mouth. What I believe builds investment is a commitment to quality, whereas it's very clear that many of these companies are pump and dump scams, and for
100%.
some reason,
Yeah.
for some reason they're getting on Binance and shit. I just saw one today. I won't name it, but
Please don't.
it was so clear that they were like a total scam, that they were pretending to have all these contracts that they didn't have, and they had copy pasted from a wiki the information for the IP that they were claiming they owned, which is, or had a partnership with, which is absolutely disgusting in my eyes.
Welcome to crypto, Dave.
Yeah. So
There-
we're not
there is
doing
definitely-
that.
It's the Wild West.
There's
Right.
definitely that balance to be made, and I think considering your expertise, Dave, as you said, even the roadmap we have is ambitious, but as well, everyone's seen our team growing, how hard we all work at getting to this goal. We are very, very committed to this, and we pour our hearts and soul into this. And like Dave says, we're trying to build a quality product here. And at the end of the day, if I was sitting back investing in something personally, I'd be aiming for the ones that have that long-term ambition toward and plans that make sense towards mainstream adoption.
Yeah.
You know, some people look at it, but it depends on how you invest as well. So, I mean, myself, I'm an investor. I've done day trading on small time frames and large time frames. I would look at something like this nowadays, and I would put money in and just hodl, and every now and then keep buying into any, just dollar cost average in is my personal strategy that I would use. I can't recommend anything to anyone, obviously, but everyone invests differently. But at the end of the day, do you want to be the investor that's hoping for a quick return on something that could be high risk, or something that that on the fundamental level, has these great promising future ahead of them? To me personally, I know where I'd put my money, and I'd feel less risk behind that. But each to their own.
When we announce something, it's real. It's a signed contract. We don't pretend that we're going to work with the House of Mouse or some garbage like that. It's just, we are transparent as we can be, and like honest about what we're pursuing here. So I'm not gonna, I mean, we shouldn't say like, oh, invest hard and invest now, we're gonna release next month. Like, that's just, we could say that, a lot of these companies do, but we're not saying that because we have a long-term plan, and it requires that our first game be as good as it can be at release. So, bear with us in terms of like, anyone telling you game development is easy, they've never done it. Or they did like some scammy like asset swap thing and threw it on Steam and like made a couple $100. Congrats to them, but that's not what we're going for.
Yeah, or cloned Hearthstone or something.
Yeah, or they cloned
just
Hearthstone.
Just made some simple NFT game out of it, and it's like, yeah, okay, anyone can do that. Maybe not. Well, I couldn't. I don't think anyone could, but even that would take.
I
take
could.
time.
I've been offered jobs to clone games and like just copy the design for things I've worked on in the past. But I always say no, because if I'm not making something new, what's the point?
Yeah. Actually, another question here from the previous submissions. When will LOCG start alpha testing? How can one How can one avail a slot as a tester? How will it differ from beta testing? Is it beta or beta?
Alpha,
That's a
beta.
good question.
Yeah, alpha testing.
Yeah, but like, do you say beta or beta?
Depends where you are in the world.
Yeah, it depends on your accent.
Because every time I say it, I don't know how I'm meant to say it, so I'm going to say beta testing.
I say
It's
beta.
betas. Yeah. I think if all three of us agree it's beta for LOCG.
Cool.
Agreed.
So when do you think? And I know this is probably more a Janet question again. But do we know when we think we might be starting alpha testing? So actually, some sort of integrative, MVP type style thing.
It's something that I need to create a roadmap for, but it requires me to spend more time talking with Unity developers first. So I'll find out either this week or next.
Cool. So I mean, the difference between alpha and beta. I don't know officially, but I mean, I think it's more like
it's quite. Usually, it's quite strict in the meaning. Alpha means that it's not complete assets, but you have like a minimum playable. A beta means all the assets are there and everything is just fine tuning.
Yes, gotcha. Because I think I was talking to you about when I did some work experience at Microsoft when I was 16, I think it was, and played Age of Empires 2 before it was out. So that would have been alpha testing because the castle was just a big black square that said castle.
Yeah.
But everything else was there. Are a few things.
Yeah, that's alpha.
When will the LOCG integration take place on the Blockfolio FTX news page? This is a CoinMarketCal-like news space and appeals to many users. Let me. I'm literally going to look that up right now. I mean, I know Blockfolio, but that's a specific mention of FTX news page. Look, we'll look into that and get back to you because we certainly are interested in those sorts of things and getting listed on places like Blockfolio, CoinGecko. Obviously, we have. The more the merrier. And if you guys have any suggestions, by all means, hit up the mods or ambassadors in our Discord and let them know. They'll let us know. If you see anything out there like this that you think would help, please, by all means, reach out. Is there any prospects on being able to buy LOCG on more exchanges?
No idea.
Does anyone have any info?
Repeat that question, sorry?
Is there any prospects on being able to buy LOCG on more exchanges?
Yes. Okay, so I'm in discussions with a DEX at the moment, if that would be considered one. And we're probably going to be doing that in about 3 weeks' time.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. It's considered one. Obviously, you're not going to mention who until it's
not until it's official. Yeah, exactly what Dave said. We only make announcements when we sign contracts. But I had a call with them yesterday. We're all aligned in the terms and conditions, and it is likely going to happen in 3 weeks' time.
Cool.
Nice.
How will the floor price of LOCG NFTs be determined?
By the market.
Yeah, I think it's essentially going to be based on, or is it really going to be based on what the sale, like if you look at the price of, say...
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We will have minimum bid requirements. Obviously, from a business point of view, we need to make sure that we have some sort of objective in mind, but then we will be governed by the market. Yeah. So we would have an aspirational market or rather, a price strategy, but ultimately the market will dictate.
Yeah, in terms of, are they asking about the cards, like the boosters?
So so like any of our NFTs, the people talk about the floor price. So I guess some projects.
No. That does have a specific answer. So for the regular edition of the cards, all of those will be priced with affordability in mind, meaning that from us, purchased in LOCG, they will be $4.99 USDT per booster per 5-card pack. And that should be true across any new set. Now, the Elite and the Prestige may go up in price over time, but I'm sort of leaving that for future economic models. At present, when we release a Prestige and an Elite, the Prestige booster will be $500, and the Elite booster will be why do I keep messing this up? 3,000 USDT.
Is there any unique character build for LOCGame Metaverse? I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure what that means either. So.
Do they mean? I suppose if you're talking, if we were talking about, say, a Warframe.
Oh,
maybe
they
mean like a. Yeah, so maybe they mean like the equivalent of like a unique character build in that sense. Maybe they're referring to building your own decks.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, yes, of course. You'd be able to customize your deck any which way you want within the standard parameters of 1 legendary, 3 rares, 6 uncommons, and 10 commons. Beyond that, I mean, we'll have avatars and things like that, but that's a little bit later down the line before we'll show you more information about how that'll work.
I guess they could also be meaning like I'm just trying to understand other ways that they could mean this question.
Make them clarify.
Yeah. But maybe like, combining a couple of different cards to get rarer. So if you had, just for example, 5 rare cards of the same thing, you merge together to build a rarer version. Maybe that's what they mean. You don't know that? Okay.
I mean, I know people have been asking me about a burning mechanic repeatedly, but I have this maybe irrational fear of cards getting burned out of the market and disappearing forever. But with the first edition, second edition, maybe that's okay. I don't know. It's a conversation, I think, for a later time. But in terms of like, once a first edition is done and printed, we'll never reprint it again, and Prestige and Elite cards are only first edition, so there'll be no second edition Prestige or anything like that. So if you want those gold borders at launch, you got to get those right away.
Actually, I know we've touched on this previously, but it's sort of passing comment. I don't know if there's been any further conversations on this, but will the concept of a secondary token? So they're saying, will there be a secondary token for LOCG? Is there a possibility to win other tokens as prizes?
I wish Janet were here to answer that herself, but I did ask about it, and it was an unequivocal no. So, yeah. So I don't know. That could change in the future, but for now, the answer is no.
Case closed. Well, I think that sort of covers most of it. Let me just go through it again. Most of the previously submitted questions. I mean, we have some of these we have answered previously, but we'll just go over it again. Because new people. So, like for the marketplace, will LOCG be the standard currency?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. What else we got? Gas fees. Gas fees, horrible. Totally understand that. We're using Polygon, so gas fees should be effectively 0. But keyword being effectively. And if Vitalik finally delivers on ETH 2.0 staking, that'll be sweet. Tell me more about the code. I should probably talk about that just in case. Now, most people here probably already know this, but just share it. If people are asking about the code, essentially it's up to Michael Carter-Williams or his crew. So be active in Discord, make some memes, get his attention, and no doubt over time you'll be thrown into the private chat with them, and that's where you'll get the code. So it's pretty exclusive. There's been a few people that have already got it, and it's been fun, and they've really enjoyed it. And what else was I going to say? Oh, KuCoin staking. KuCoin staking is coming up. So those that weren't able to stake in the first Michael Carter-Williams pool, we're having something similar coming up with KuCoin. I believe it's almost finalized and should be announced very, very soon. So watch the space for that. And obviously we'll announce that everywhere. Might throw it over to you guys. Nifty, what else we got there? Nifty, Crypto Brave. If you guys have any questions, Sift, Ultra, you can unmute and throw them out there. Nifty's typing. You might be having dinner. And Ultra's typing. Oh. He's typing to say, I don't have any for now. Ah, Nifty too. Okay, cool. Well, I was waiting for a question. Well, good. Okay, well, I think that's us for tonight, and I think we've got a really great week ahead of us. Massive news incoming. Really look forward to it, and thank you everyone for all your support.
You have one thing.
Oh, Khalid.
It's almost impossible to hear you. I'm sorry.
Agreed. It's very difficult. Do you want to type it in the main chat? You type away. Let me throw this one out there while he's typing. Let me throw this one out there. I'll try and condense it. Saw on the roadmap of LOCG that will build a lot of genre games in Q4 2021, 2022. Does this mean LOCG will become metaverse of games platform?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's
the
not
goal.
a real answer.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is obviously to have our own sets of games, and we will start tackling new genres left and right. And I mean, they're already on the roadmap. You can see that we'll have a platformer and a RTS and MMORPG in the long-term works, but an MMORPG is like 5 years. So yeah, we do intend to have that sort of thing, but they'll all be within the LOCG base metaverse, which is quite expandable.
Here we go, Khalid. So, of course, naturally, he wanted to plug the LOCPod as he should, as we all should. It's a great podcast. The last one I listened to this on was just amazing. I really look forward. I actually want to be on that call with you, David, when you speak to him. I really do. Oh, well, we can do that too. But yeah, the podcast, I'm loving it. I'm listening to it. I'm enjoying it. And we're going to be having basically like when we do our AUAs here, Khalid will bring the guests that he's having through so they can come and say hi. So good names that he's got in the pipeline for the podcast, and hopefully they'll draw even more. So if we can get them in here to say hello to everyone, that'll be really awesome as well. And so we love your support with it. Please go have a listen to it if you haven't already, and subscribe. Do I get to do that thing like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to our
Yes.
channel. Cool. Khalid, you'll do it better when you get your mic fixed. All right, I think that's good. Thank you,
right.
everyone,
Thanks,
and we'll
everyone.
see you next week.
Cheers.